Welcome to Explorers Forum for Sunday, November 15, and our second installment in a three-part series on gratitude and Thanksgiving. Because we have been surrounded by so much sound, noise, and hubbub over the past few weeks, let us begin today's time together with a brief moment of silent worship in the manner of friends. Thank you, friends. I have to admit that feels a little bit like the commercials you see on TV that says, do nothing for 15 seconds, and it's the rain falling. What a treat it is for me to get to introduce today's speaker. Shannon and I have shared many special moments as friends and as parents. No small number of those times were spent as spectators at our son's baseball games. And you can learn a lot from and about a person while watching baseball, especially because you are usually watching for a very long time. Shannon has been a member of First and Central since 2011 and has worn many hats during that time. She spends her weekdays down the street from the church at the U.S. Attorney's Office, where she supervises federal investigations and prosecutions. Shannon has been an attorney with that office since she and her husband, John, with their two, at that time, young sons in tow, moved to Delaware over 20 years ago. Among all God's blessings, she considers her almost 30-year marriage to John the most miraculous. After a 16-year journey, Shannon recently became a gratefully ordained PCUSA minister. And so, it is my greatest pleasure to turn things over to my very, very dear friend with her newly minted title, the Reverend Shannon T. Hanson.
Oh, blessings, Margaret Ann. Thank you so much for that. And I am just delighted to get to see everyone today and see all your faces. Can you hear me? Well, I don't know what in the world.
That's it. That's good.
Okay. Please, if you can't, is everybody still good? Okay.
I believe so.
If at any time you can't, let me know. All right. I just want a disclaimer for today. Today is all about gratitude. And I know that, you know, the cynicism has a reputation as being sort of the trait of the learned. And what I'm going to ask you all to do is to join me in a bit of time to get outside of our shells, to get outside of the hardened shells of ourselves. Maybe we've even gotten a little harder this year, and just give something of yourself to this process today. And if that's not what you're into this morning, then you can happily say, either I'm going to participate, you know, passively, or you can say, thanks, but no thanks for the morning. But I want you to know that I am going to be, I'm going to give my best to being a purveyor of gratitude and some tools that we can use, all of us can use, to promote and support a feeling of gratitude through the holidays. Okay? Everybody on board? So I'm hoping that you come away from this with a couple of tools and a couple of personal insights about what you hope and then what you plan for the holidays in 2020 to look like. Sound good? Well, let's get started. My friend, a friend of mine said, instead of when is it going to get better, she thought that that it should be gratitude 2020. It can always get worse. And I think we've experienced that as a group this year. But I think it's really important for us to go back and to remember some of the beauty of our hope as Christians. And I'm going to read Psalm 34 for you. You can't see all of it on your screen because I liked how pretty it looked, but I will read it to you. You can close your eyes if you wish. I will praise the Lord at all times. I will constantly speak his praises. I will boast only in the Lord. Let all who are helpless take heart. Come. Let us tell of the Lord's greatness. Let us exalt his name together. I prayed to the Lord and he answered me. He freed me from all my fears. Those who look to him for help will be radiant with joy. No shadow of shame will darken their faces. In my desperation, I prayed and the Lord listened. He saved me from all my troubles, for the angel of the Lord is a guard. He surrounds and defends all who fear him. Oh, taste and see. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good. Oh, the joys of those who take refuge in him. Fear the Lord, you his godly people. For those who fear him will have all they need. Even young lions sometimes go hungry, but those who trust in the Lord will lack no good thing. So today we're going to harvest, we're going to set the table, and then we're going to share. Everybody good with that? We're going to harvest, we're going to set the table, and we're going to share. First, I like the part of my favorite part of Psalm 34 is that comment that even strong lions sometimes go hungry, but those who trust in the Lord will lack no good thing. I just love the imagery of it. I love the idea that we are like strong, young, hungry lions, and that we can strive for that of God even when we're hungry, maybe especially when we're hungry. So what I'd like you to do right now is understand that as Christians, and I'm going to get out of this for a sec. Hold on, I want to see your faces. There we go. I can see all your faces. As Christians, well, let me start it this way. It's commonplace right now, right? Who here has seen something about practicing gratitude on the web? Raise your hand if you've seen it. The idea that gratitude has positive health effects, both mental and physical. All you have to do, if you're interested in any of that, is Google gratitude. You can watch a YouTube video, you can do that. We're not doing that this morning, but it's not a bad idea. There's the gratitude journals. You write down 3 things that you're grateful for every morning. It's all good. But as Christians, as Christ followers, gratitude is something much more. It's something much more for us because it involves a deep and very, I would say, comforting, a deep and comforting recognition of our place in the world. Our place as beloved children of a loving God. When we talk about gratitude, we don't say, oh, I'm grateful to the universe for, right? You've heard that. I'm sure you've heard people say, or I have heard people say, I'm grateful. But we are actually beloved children of a loving God, and we see the world's gifts as gifts from God. We see, as the Quakers say, that of God in everyone. Their dignity, their inherent honor, and our inherent honor. And we see what we have not as something we've gotten through our own work, but following Jesus, we see that as the gift of grace in our lives. Everybody with me? Get a couple? Okay, gotcha. Even strong lions sometimes go hungry, but those who trust in the Lord will lack no good thing. So I'd like to ask us to focus on making some memories in 2020, in the 2020 holiday. Not focus on what is absent, not focus on what 2020's holidays won't look like, but whether we want it or not, the holidays in 2020 are going to be memorable. We are going to remember these. So we might as well create something that we want to remember. Proactively create something. Maybe the events of the pandemic have helped you to see what's truly important in your life. Maybe the civil unrest after George Floyd has opened your eyes to things that are painful, and this holiday feels different. Maybe the election season has caused you to rethink the fragility of our democratic institutions. Or maybe you're just plain tired. Okay, having all said all that, what do you want to remember? Take out your piece of paper, take out your whatever you have to write with, and just give me your first response to the following question. What do you want the emotional harvest of 2020 to look like? Give me at least one word. What do you want the emotional harvest, your personal emotional harvest of 2020, the Thanksgiving holiday season of 2020 to look like? You know, I think about when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about the fruits of the Spirit, right? Love, joy, peace, patience. Patience. That's a tricky one for me. Kindness, goodness. Another tricky one for me, self-control. Does anybody want to share their word or words?
Joy.
Joy. Thank you, Sue. Joy.
Peaceful.
Peaceful. Thank you. Thank you, Jesse.
Togetherness.
Beautiful.
I'll say strength.
I just said relief.
Relief or release?
Relief.
Relief. Beautiful.
There's no ring. Gratitude for life.
Connections. Strength.
Faithful.
Appreciation.
I put quirky.
Nervous.
Put survival.
Okay. Yes, Mac.
Service.
Service. Service. These are great words. Yes, Sam.
Hope.
Hope. Hope. Yes. All right. Now, I'd like you to do a guided imagery with me. A guided imagery. So what that means is that we are going to either close. You're going to spend a couple of minutes with me. I'm going to paint a picture, a word picture. You can either close your eyes, or if you're not comfortable doing that, then you should feel free to just cast your gaze downward. But we're gonna take a couple deep breaths, and then I'll start us. Okay, breathe in And out. And one more time in. And out. You are sitting at a table. And you're experiencing what you wish for the emotional harvest of 2020. Doesn't have to be Thanksgiving or Christmas. So where are you? Why did you choose that place? Whose table is it? Are you a guest or the host? Take a careful look around. Who is sitting beside you, across from you at the table? If anyone. And now look at the table itself. Are there dishes in front of you? Food? Drink? And are you talking? Or are you listening? Maybe a bit of both. Can you feel yourself experiencing that wish for the emotional harvest? And if so, why? All right, now I invite you all, if you had your eyes closed, to open them. We're going to go into small groups. And the question is the same. The question is still, what is the emotional harvest that you hope to get in 2020? I wonder if the imagery might have changed that or not. And if you're willing to share, if you could please share what you saw with those who were in your small groups. All right, is everybody clear on the assignment? Yeah, okay. Margaret Ann, would you mind taking this into small groups?
Well, Zoom doesn't seem to want to cooperate with me today.
All right,
It's not allowing me to set up breakout rooms.
not a problem at all. Then
So I apologize for that.
not at all. Not at all. I'm going to see then, and it's a different situation. I understand if people aren't comfortable, but if anyone is comfortable in sharing their vision of what that table was, what it looked like, where it was, any of that, I welcome your participation. And Mac looks like he's willing to do that. Thank you, Mac.
My emotional harvest was I want to be the host at the Thanksgiving table, but nobody is here because they can't be here. My two daughters and their families cannot be here. The dishes are all set. The glasses are here. That's my emotional harvest for the last 8 months because nobody, I moved to a new place. I have the table. I've had some people over for dinner, but for Thanksgiving, this is what I'm thinking about, that it is the emotional harvest of the whole year. I can't serve my daughters, my family in the way that I want to. So I have to satisfy myself with phone calls and Zoom meetings, and that's my emotional harvest. So I guess I'm hurting, I'm lonely, and I know that there are better times ahead, but they're just not here yet.
Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing what I am sure is a common experience for the folks on the phone. And we're going to talk about that in just a second, Mac, about how we can, what you can, maybe some good tools for you. So, anyone else?
Terry.
Carrie.
I have my overriding feeling is one of relief, of just, it's over with. And my imagery was not sitting at the table, but standing with my family in a circle, with our arms around each other in a circle. And it was a feeling of comfort and relief that we have come through so much and we're on the other side.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that beautiful image, just like Max. Beautiful image, sad, but nonetheless beautiful for what you want it to be. Others, anybody else?
Terry, do you mean politically too? Oh, you're on mute.
No,
I mean politically as well as some
personal for you.
personal for me, because I came through a really serious illness. But that was not overwhelming feeling. It was the political thing that I really wanted to be on the other side of all of this angst.
And now you feel you are.
Thank you.
David Teeger.
Yeah, so in my mind, there were two tables. There's the family table that I would have hoped to be at, but I can have memories of what those gatherings were like. And then I had the table that it's likely to be with just very few people. But at both tables, the connection was laughter. So it speaks again to the relief. Sometimes when things are so stressful that all you can do is break that with laughter. So that was the harvest, is look for laughter.
Thank you, David. We have three words that we'll just take these three, because there's relief, there's service, wanting to literally serve, and there's laughter. I think the setting the table for this year. So we know what we want to harvest, each of us, and a couple of us have shared. The setting the table this year, maybe unlike the physical setting of the table in years past, is about thinking about how we individually can prepare ourselves for a Thanksgiving with the emotional harvest we seek. And we prepare food all the time, right? We prepare, we know it takes time to say, let the bread rise, let the yeast do its thing, to bake pies. You can tell I don't cook, to brine the turkey, all of that. But think about the words, your word, or relief and service and laughter. What is one thing that you can do with all the time that you have, because we're not brining giant turkeys and baking pies and looking up recipes that maybe the way we would. What's one thing that you can do that you will pledge to try to do to obtain the emotional harvest for Thanksgiving 2020 that you seek? What's one thing you can do to set the table? It is hard for us as, oh, Allison has her hand raised. Yes, please, Allison.
So did the
Well,
Bradleys.
as
Oh,
you were
yeah.
talking about setting the table and the like, I just had thoughts about what could I do with those who normally, I always picture my table because I've been the host for so many years. But I was trying to think of what I could personally do for those who cannot be at our table this year.
Can you say a
and
little more about that?
Well, we always hosted a big gang around the table, and it has 4 leaves, and it opens up, and it's a great old oak table. The Bill and I just refinished the top, but it's filled with memories and tradition. And this year, it ain't happening. So I was, we're probably going to Zoom dinner with our New York son and his wife, and I'm not sure what all is going to happen, but I was thinking maybe I could send flowers to those who are not at the table, so at least at their dinner table we could be united through the beauty of that. Or what else could, I was telling Bill maybe we should make Thanksgiving Day cards and send them to people, but somehow to tie the memory and the tradition together, so we're not totally apart.
May I ask what the word or words for your emotional harvest was, Allison?
Quirky.
Oh, quirky, that's right. I loved quirky. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. You've even said that already. I apologize. Thank you.
It's not, it's not the same.
It's not the same, but you're thinking about creative ways to have that connection, even though you're not physically present with one another, whether
Correct.
it's cards or flowers or something else.
Yep. I feel in some ways, I don't know, I just had a flashback to a Passover dinner, and why is this night different than all the other nights? But just Thanksgiving, why is this day different than other? And it is going to be different.
And
folks aren't going to be.
Are going to be present. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for that.
Bill always makes a Jell-O salad for holidays growing up in the Midwest, and everybody kids him about it. So he just said, maybe we should send Jell-O.
I love it. I love it.
Cooked or gelled or ungelled.
Sending Jell-O packets to David's laughter for sure. Right? That's funny. I mean, that's a funny thing. That would certainly bring us.
That would be tradition.
That would be a tradition in a quirky way.
Great. Shannon, we have 3 people in line here. First the Bradleys, then the Rogers, and then the Getmans.
Thank you.
I was thinking, my word was strength, and I was thinking of that in the sense of endurance. Although our Thanksgiving Day celebration will just be ourselves and one of our sons, because the other one will be at the family of his significant other. We are also, this is the time of year we're looking also forward to Christmas. It's our turn this year to host the 44th Gang a Christmas dinner of the group of friends, starting with my husband and 2 of his childhood friends, and then 2 guys that they met when they came up to UD for college. And we've all married, they've all married. We now are 3 generations in this group. And since 1976, we have never missed a year of having a Christmas season Thanksgiving dinner and gift exchange. And it's our turn this year. And what we've been doing, we've stayed in touch. Every 2 weeks, we Zoom together, the older generation, the first one. And so we've already figured out that we're going to be finding ways to make the drop off and pick up the gifts that are going to be exchanged and talk about how we'll celebrate. And as we always do, pick the date that everybody can get together. And this year, unfortunately, we'll be Zooming, but we can still be choosing the gifts that we will have distributed earlier and figuring out how to have a common, it's always a potluck, but how to have some kind of a way to celebrate that, because what I saw in the meditation was we were at a table, we had our personal families, but we also had all this gang of families, and we were quietly joyful because we felt the strength and the years of joy that we have had and will continue to have, even though this year, like Allison said, it'll be quirky, but we'll find a way to celebrate this connection during this season. So.
Thank you so much. I know the Bradleys have had a tricky year, so that is particularly that's particularly hopeful. And I love the strategizing, because I think we need to strategize. I think this is just like a recipe. You can't just go into it and not use the tools we have. Who else was next? Margaret Ann?
Judy and Jesse.
We have a really big family, and we always would get together on Christmas Day, starting with breakfast through dinner. And we can't do it this year, obviously. So we've broken it down into 4 different days that we're going to get with small groups and try to celebrate over probably 10 days. That's the best we can do. And so my word is be satisfied. We're doing our best. You know, it's not going to be the way it was last year or probably next year, but we came up with a solution and we're going to make it work. So we're just going to be happy with whatever.
Be satisfied. Be satisfied.
Did I get it?
Thank you, Judy. Thank you. And Sue?
Well, mine may sound kind of odd. My word was joy. And so I find when I am seeking joy, I need to go deep within. Happiness can come from the circumstances and experiences around us, but that joy and connecting with the Spirit of God and with other things that provide joy, I have to take that time. So fortunately, I took Thanksgiving week off, and we will have a little bit of family celebration, but in order for me to get to that joy, to really feel the relief that was talked about, even to get to more laughter, I need to do more self-care. And so taking the time for more meditation and yoga, and just not having all of the things that create daily responsibility and burden and lack of sleep. That's what I feel like I need to do in order to find that joy, and then to be prepared for the Advent and Christmas season, which, is a whole other thing. But just for Thanksgiving week, that's what I'm going to try to do so that I'm rejuvenated.
Oh, Sue, thank you. And that may be a gift that, at least for those of you who are hosters, who are used to a lot of busyness, there may be a gift in that, an opportunity for some self-care for some of you that you might not otherwise be able to engage in. I really cannot stress enough that need for for finding that which helps you, right? For that which gives you relief and release and laughter, and then working at it, and then doing those things. The final question that I have for all of you is if you remember, we have harvesting, we have setting the table, and now we have sharing your harvest through the experience. And my question is, how are you going to communicate your hoped for harvest with others? How are you going to communicate your hoped for harvest with and to others? The reason I say this is because I think that there are opportunities for curiosity here. There are opportunities to listen. There are opportunities to say to people, I would love to serve you this year, and I can't serve you in person. How can I do that? I would love to. What is something that you can talk about for hours? Or what is something that makes you laugh? And then listen. That gift, all of you have people in your lives that both need to listen to you because you're all very wise, but also, but also that's such a gift to listen to people, right? It's such a gift. And that sense of being able to let go of that which we cannot control. By the way, I am the worst on this, okay? I am not anybody's poster child for the ability to let go of things. But it is core to being a Christian, to letting go of that which we don't control, and to putting our faith and our life and our work into believing that we are beloved children of a loving God, especially when we are hungry lions. What are some ideas that, if anyone wants to share, about how you can communicate what your emotional harvest should look like? I see Joe's got his hand up.
Shannon, we had Sam Massey, then we've got Joe, then Allison.
Super.
So I'm a little behind here. Had my hand up for the previous question, but perhaps I can extrapolate. I have found it alienating to think of Thanksgiving dinner as a political statement, that I will gather with people if I'm in the Republican camp as a political act of saying COVID is a hoax, and that I will be separated from my loved ones because I'm in a Democratic camp and because COVID's to be taken seriously. When we were trying to get out of our house and had a series of workmen come through, you could see them with one hand on their pockets coming in, and they were trying to gauge whether this was a mask house or a maskless house. And what I would do is put on my mask and say, oh, I'm a COVID spreader, so I'm trying to protect you. And of course, every mask came out then and we were fine. But for me, the signs of reconciliation will be to be able to say, happy Thanksgiving, and then to be able to ask, what are your joyful plans for Thanksgiving? And not see people tear up or look like they're heartbroken because they are in isolation. And that can be asked of people, whether they're Democratic or Republican or Socialist Workers' Party, or whatever it might be. I remind myself that Benjamin Franklin first called for a Thanksgiving originally during the time of the Continental Congress as a sign of national unity in the face of British oppression. And wouldn't it be wonderful as we gather again in the future as a sign of hope that we will again be one nation, not as we have to be careful as a nation not to be the oppressors anymore, but to be a sign that we understand that we are stronger together than apart. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you so much for the unity message. It sounds like your word would be reconciliation or unity, and that's beautiful. Margaret Ann, who else do we have?
Joe, and then Allison.
So my thought is that we often, when we have Thanksgiving here, we go around the table and ask people to describe what they are thankful for. And so that allows everybody's voice to be heard, and it also allows opportunity for discussion around the table. So we've found that is always something that works well.
And I hope you can come up with some way to do that, to have that tradition in a maybe quirky way this year, but have that communication, have that those opportunities for, hey, nobody is going to solve fundamental political differences over pumpkin pie. Don't try it. Not a good idea. But the connection, I'm guessing that all of us in our word for emotional harvest was something that we can do. We hope we can do with those we love if we are curious enough. Curiosity and listening will go a very long way, in my opinion.
Yes, part of what I had envisioned about the table being spread out is an old recipe that has come up through the years in our family, and it certainly describes not only the table but those around the table. And that dish is fruit salad.
I love it. I love it. And Allison, what please share.
Yes, actually, it is me. I appreciate the conversation, because what I'm going to do next week is send a container of raspberry Jello mix and some cranberries to our son and daughter-in-law in New York City, because I know that they will miss it.
Well, you got to send it to my aunt
And then send it to the
sister-in-law.
aunt and as well. So I'm going to send a Jello mix stuff to those who complain about it every year.
And never eat it.
And never eat it. Perfect. That fits David Teeger's laughter for sure. That fits it. Does anyone else have something they want to say about communicating? And hey, this is a different year. Some of the taboos are off. You can do things that you haven't done before. Hey, my emotional harvest for this year is X. And I would love to, I'm curious about yours. And how can we do this together? Those are conversations that can be had. Maybe not in person, but I'm going to try it. I don't know. I'll let you know if it works.
We have a couple more people, and actually, if there's time, I'll share something. So first Connie, and then Sue again. Okay. Sue.
Well, the thing I thought of was that during Thanksgiving week is usually when I write something that goes in the annual Christmas card. And I was thinking, it just can't be typical. I mean, I don't do a brag letter or anything like that, but I think quirky and humorous and light, that's my goal this year. So wish me luck on that one.
Anyone else? And Connie's writing in the chat, so we won't miss her.
Connie, see if you can talk again if we can hear you. Nope, still can't. While she's typing, so that we make sure that we do get her. When we were doing the visualization at the very beginning, Stu wrote togetherness. I was thinking friendship, family. And one of the things that has occurred to me a few times over the past several days is that, months actually, is that we're building new traditions. And so we can't have Thanksgiving in the way that we normally do, but the four of us will be gathered. the two of us and our two sons in a way that we have not done so in many, many years, just the four of us. And that's going to be kind of neat. So I'm looking forward to that. One of my friends used to say, if you do something twice, it's a tradition. So I'm kind of hoping that we find ways to carry on the tradition of having special dinners just for the four of us when, you know, we're not all in the same house anymore necessarily. But I would like to go back to having Thanksgiving with other people. No.
Well, you know, also, you can't take advantage in good weather of getting together outside with friends. On your patio, you know, you can sit safely at distance and have a good time. We've done it.
So that's a bonus. So we get to enjoy the outdoors a little bit longer and still be in community with our friends. Okay, so I've got Connie's thoughts. Her word was connection. And her thought is adding to a list of people to telephone rather than Zoom. It's much easier to have a long conversation than it is to Zoom.
Well, I would like to thank you all I am so grateful for your participation this morning and for the wonderful ideas that you have shared, and also the pain, both the release from past pain and the current pain that we are experiencing as Hungry Lions. What I would like to do is close with prayer. And this prayer is a prayer that you all have written during this time together because of your words. So I'm going to lift up all of the emotional harvest that we have shared with one another, our hoped for emotional harvest. And that's how we'll close. All right, so let us pray. Gracious One, we come to you as your people. We come seeking reconciliation and needing a large helping of hope. We seek to serve and to be joyful, to be connected, to share with family and friends. We seek strength. We want to be satisfied in our quirky and funny time. We are relieved that some of the past season is behind us and that we can see a future that looks brighter. We ask that you help us come together in friendship and love in ways that might feel funny, but can nourish our souls. And as your children, can nourish the souls of those whom we love. Help us prepare for this time, engaging in the self-care that honors your love and light. And then help us celebrate this season of 2021 that we will always remember, with traditions and new traditions, all grounded in your love for us. We ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus the Christ. Amen. Happy days.
Thank you for being here, friends. Before you leave, let me give you a brief overview of what's coming up next week. We're very grateful you were here today, and we hope you will continue to be with us next week as we welcome as our guest Marla Blunt Carter. Marla is an assistant professor of professional practice at Rutgers University School of Social Work, and she has also worked for the Obama-Biden administration. In addition, she's the younger sister of Lisa Blunt Rochester, Delaware's representative to the United States Congress. Marla's session with us next week is entitled Graceful Gratitude, and we hope you will join us then. Thank you so much for being with us today and for putting up with the host's inadequate skills.
You did good.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.
Margaret.
Well,
Ann.